Hi, this is Colleen with Chats with Colleen. We're so glad that you're here joining us for our bi-weekly podcast edition. I am with Sean Sposato, the executive producer again, and we're going to talk about our next guest. It's Miss Ava Cadle. I hope I said her name right. I know she's probably going to correct me. But she is a young woman, which I was super impressed with her. I happened to meet her at the CFRI Holiday Expo trade show. And she came to me, or came up and told me what she did, gave me her card. And I was like, she does resume writing and like rebranding to help like a new person get their foot in the door at a company and get hired. And then she also helps companies like brand themselves that are new. So she'll explain it to us. But I was like, you know, when I was talking to her and she's like, well, I'm young. And I was like, well, how young are you? And she said 21. And I'm like, oh my God. But it kind of reminded me back to when I was 21.
Yeah.
It's
a go-getter.
I was a little bit of a go-getter, not as professionally apt as her, I don't think. But I feel like now some kids at 21 are not that mature.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I was really like gravitated, and I got her number. I contacted her right away, and I asked her if she would do the Zoom with me. So we recorded her via Zoom, and I think it's great because we're coming into like the beginning of a new year. A lot of people are maybe looking for new jobs. There's a lot of people who just graduated from college this month and months ago, and they're still having a hard time, or people trying to revamp their lives or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of this, which you told me this, a lot of resume reading, it's not even read by like a human being. And so they're reading, AI's reading it. It's like an AI, it's some program, which she'll tell me what it's called. But they're reading like keywords and then it spits it out. And then it may eventually get over to a person.
Hopefully.
If you're lucky. So I just think that's like unfortunate. So I hope she can shed some light and give us and our viewers and our guests some feedback about that.
Nice.
Yeah. So, do you have any key inputs here for us, for people in the new year, about maybe like some possible goal setting and job search setting or anything?
You know, it's so funny. A really good friend of mine, she's a very like positive, very optimistic person, and I love her. But it's interesting. She actually just recently she made a vision board for the year, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I've done that before, and
I've never done that.
Funny enough, like I recently just changed computers, and I was going through all these old files, and I came across a vision board I made in like 2016, which is like almost 10 years ago.
Wow, it's just about depends on
Literally.
what part of the year you did it.
Literally, and it was so interesting because I was looking at it, and I achieved all of the things with the exception of like, we did have like embarrassingly like a picture of like rock hard abs, and I do not have rock hard abs. But it's just like, it was so interesting though, because it's like, I think there is something about like you essentially creating this bigger, greater plan for your life. And
did you do the vision board on like a board where you actually cut and pasted the stuff and put it on there, or was it on your computer?
I did it on Photoshop. I did it on Photoshop because it was just like easier, and it was like something more personal.
Is it an app?
So Photoshop is, but you can do this on like Canva. You could do it like, I mean, there's so many. Canva is
I have to look into that.
And like, it was just, you can upload your own pictures. They have clip art that is available to you.
So maybe we could do like a Zoom. That would be a good thing to do with like my ladies group or anybody. Do like a Zoom.
Like a Zoom vision board.
Yeah, like planning workshop, and just do like a couple hours, and everybody just talk about it and have it on their other side of their computer.
Oh, for sure. I think there is power in like really just
virtually,
but also
virtual vision board day,
and like really manifesting what you want for your life. You know, I think it's really easy to kind of just get caught up in like the same old. But when you have this bigger, better like idea of what you want, and you have these goals, and
but you have to write it down or put it somewhere.
You have to put it somewhere to kind of remind you, you know, to keep you on track.
As a reminder.
Because it's like as we all know, like it's really easy to get sidetracked.
A vision board. We should plan that and get a couple people to do it on Zoom. And then I feel like sometimes you may feel self-conscious. I don't know. Maybe I may, and that's just me. Like if I'm in a group of people and we're all planning it, because you may not be sincere with what you say.
Of course.
But if you're at home virtually, then you can show it. You kind of feel like you have like that protection.
Yeah.
Because you're by your, it's a little bit more like sincere, and maybe you'd be a little bit more honest with what you really want.
Oh, for sure. And you're definitely not on display, like where everyone's just judging.
And most
looking.
people, and it's most of the time, it's just us. Like, we're more like judgy of ourselves than other people are.
That's very true.
I mean, and if somebody's saying something when you're over here trying to like improve your life, well, they're probably the ones with the problem.
They can go scratch, literally. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's a great idea.
That's like something, I don't know, that I feel like that's something a lot of people can go into the new year with that could potentially, bring something positive,
Yeah, they have to be realistic. It can't be like huge goals.
Something crazy like, I want to make $1 billion.
I mean, we all do, but let's go play the Powerball because it's rolled over again.
Is it really? I didn't even
go buy like 10 tickets.
I might have to buy. My mom actually asked me over the weekend, and I was like, I didn't buy it.
I was supposed to buy them. Yeah, I'm going to buy some, and I'm going to buy some scratch-offs for people's gifts.
Yeah.
But I always do that. But yeah, exactly. I feel like it has to be realistic. I mean, it can be outlandish goals, but those can be like in the future, but things that are obtainable. And then don't try to do too many changes like at once, because then it's just too much on you and your brain, and you can't, and you won't stick to it.
No, you can't. How could you? It's funny. I think I heard somewhere it takes 90 days to create a habit.
Yeah.
And like, if you're trying to create like 12 new habits in like a single span of time, I think that's you're just going to
burn yourself. You're asking for trouble.
You're asking for trouble and just a disaster and burnout and just potentially even hurting yourself emotionally, mentally, however, So I totally get what you're saying for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't there shouldn't be goals. It should just be like objectives in your life and things that you're working towards.
Yeah. I like, that's a really good ideology to live by. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yes, you just need to get 1% better every day, and then it'll start adding up.
I've never heard that, but I think that's actually really great. Like, also a great ideology to live by. I've never heard that. That's so funny. I'll have to try that. Said I'm going to get 1% better.
1% better. Yeah, my son, he had like a basketball coach that told him that, and it was like every day, 1% better. That's all you need, and it's obtainable.
It is, and it's very reasonable.
It's reasonable with yourself. A lot of stuff is not reasonable, and then people just fail, and they can't meet their goals because they're not living like one day at a time.
Well, and we live at this time with like social media where you see like everyone's highlight reel every single second of the day, and you're seeing these people that are so successful and they have so many people following them and, X, Y, and Z about why their lives are so much better than yours. And I think it's easy to kind of just be really down on yourself and negative.
It's easily to do that and then to compare yourself, I'm supposed to be doing this. And I'm like, well, really? Why? Because that's literally just what they're showing you. But are they showing you the other stuff? And then they may very well be doing that. But what did they take to get there? And they're not showing you that.
They're not. Also, a lot of that stuff I don't even think is real.
I don't think it is either.
There's a lot of influencers in Los Angeles, they rent studio spaces that look like private jets because they themselves don't have private jets. Oh. And they like shoot content.
Well, I shouldn't feel so bad because this is my studio
space. And it's amazing. It's so good.
It's in the catty corner of my office. Yeah. But it's not rented.
It's not.
You can come here anytime you want.
Literally, actually, yes.
Mm-hmm. And sit here. Even if I'm working, I'll be really quiet, and you can record your podcast.
You take a lot of phone calls. I will.
Well, I'll just go in the other room.
There you go. You're sweet. Very considerate.
I'll mute them.
Yeah.
I'll put on the answering service. But I hope with Ava, and I also really liked her name, to be honest. Secretly, when I was like younger, if I had a daughter, I wanted to name her Ava.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to name my daughter Ava. I told her that. She probably thought, this is a crazy lady.
No, I'm sure she appreciated it.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping she could help somebody with her podcast and that she came on here and help her too get some clients, but help somebody else. And just sometimes it just takes somebody looking at like something that you have, whether it's your portfolio, your resume, anything, and just like somebody giving some like fresh input. And she's young and fresh, and she's got these new tools that the public's using.
Nice. So she's like a consultant.
Yes.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Nice.
So thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, this is Colleen with Chats with Colleen, and we're so glad that you're here joining us today for our podcast edition. And this week we have Ava Cadle, who is the owner of the Summit Strategist. And if you could start by telling me a little about your journey and how you started to start this company.
Colleen, if you don't mind, if we can redo it because it's Cadle,
Oh, Cadle.
Cadle.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's
Okay.
okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Cadle,
Perfect.
the Summit Strategist.
Okay. Hi, this is
Exactly.
Colleen with Chats with Colleen. We are so glad you're here joining us today. Today we have Ava Cadle. She's the owner of the Summit Strategist, and she's going to start by telling us a little bit about her journey and how she started this and what she does.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Colleen. So yes, it's so funny because this all started when I was fresh out of high school and just wanted to look for a job. So I knew that the job that I wanted had to be a remote job. And I was told at the time that if I wanted a remote job, I would need to really stand out because like I had no like prior experience and it was pretty competitive. Like the first job I ever applied to was like 1,500 applicants.
Oh,
And yes, so I knew that the first thing I wanted to focus on was like creating like a document, like such as a resume that stood out, even though I didn't have much experience. So that's what I did. Created a resume using a software that was given by my local library. And I added all the volunteer work that I did. I think I was like babysitting at the time, like just whatever I
mhm.
was doing, I added it on there. And I remember getting a call back from that job that had 1,500 applicants. And I was moved to like the third round at that point. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then I ended up getting the job. I was at a talent agency. And I remember I was in a meeting with the like chief operating officer, and I asked him like what made you like select me, and he was like, it was your resume. Like you were going against people that had a bachelor's degree who had decades worth of experience, but the way that you like conveyed like how well of an asset you could be to the team showed that you had the confidence, so that's why we picked you. And I was like, oh my gosh. So from that point I was doing family members resumes. And
Mhm.
then it wasn't think around 2023 of November when I realized that I could have something profitable here. And then that's when I started my business, and it was under Resumes by Ava at the time. And then now we've transitioned to the Summit Strategist because we do more than just resumes. So it expanded a bit, but that's really how it started.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable because I know what you're talking about, like applying for all these jobs or a job and having so many applicants,
Yes.
and then not hearing back. And I've been hearing this from like so many people. Like my son's actually looking for a job and he's been looking for one since like May, since he
Yeah.
graduated from college, and I think what's the frustrating thing is like you said, you don't have like experience because
Yeah.
you've been in school and stuff like that. So you have to make your resume stand out.
Yeah.
What do you see as like a gap in when people are trying to prepare their, resumes to brand themselves? What is like the biggest thing that people either miss out on or they don't, know what they're supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the biggest gaps that I saw and continue to see are a lack of vision and a lack of confidence. So I don't think people realize that when you create like a document such as a resume, your confidence has to be conveyed in that document. And I think some resumes look defeated before the interview even started. So I would say just the first step is always to understand your vision. And like I get most of my wisdom from the Bible, and it says, without a vision, people perish. So if you don't know your destination, you can't build a brand to take you there. So I would say that's the biggest gap is like lack of vision and confidence. And there's also a second part to this too, if you don't mind me sharing. So the second step is really to focus on providing and communicating value. So that's important. We're actually going to discuss more about that later. But if you fix your vision and then learn how to articulate your value, everything else becomes easier, in my opinion.
When you hear the word like personal brand, I always think like brand, someone told me that maybe like 10 years ago and I'd never heard it. Like our brand, your brand. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not like an item or something. But
yeah.
now you always think social media, how they're like influencers and they have like a contract with their brand or they're advertising it. But how do you really like define what someone's personal brand is?
Colleen, I love this question because it's true. When people hear personal brand, they think social media. And I feel like I can answer this firsthand because I actually don't have social media. Like I deleted like my main social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter. And and I'm actually finding I'm getting more intentional clients, of course, like we're still in the beginning stages, but I'm seeing that it's been a little bit more, like I find more clarity like being off the apps. And it leads into personal brand. Your personal brand is actually something that you carry online and offline. So it's like it's your demeanor, it's your tone, your smile, and it's the message that you consistently send to other people. So I would think that's a personal brand. And but the biggest hurdle online, I think, that people don't realize is making like your personal brand just about you, like something that screams me. And Kim Kardashian is someone that can get away with a brand that screams me, because she has a captivated audience of millions already, but most of us are not Kim K. So for the rest of us, the value we provide is the product. Like we are not the product. The value that we provide is the product. So people fail because they focus on their accomplishments, but can't communicate how those accomplishments like help, their audience or their employer, if they have a business, like help their clients. So I think that's very important.
It is. And so what are some, probably mistakes that people make when they're trying to build their brand or even like out in the public, whether it's personal, or online? What are mistakes that they make? I'm sure there's many.
Yeah. So the first thing leads back to what we talked about with like the lack of vision. Like where do you envision yourself? Like just narrow down and clarify, like, what is it? Like, where am I trying to go? What is it that I actually want? And then when you do that, you can change how you communicate that to other people. So, but if we're talking about resumes, it's a little bit different. And I will say that recruiters actually don't spend a lot of time looking at your resume. If we're talking in the context of resume, like the biggest misconception is that they actually read it. They actually, I think there's a study that was done that showed that they only look at it for about 6 seconds. So
Mhm.
you really have zero time to waste. So that's also something that we can get into more later.
Mhm. And then if someone's going to start from scratch, whether they're trying to build like a presence online or in socially, or start their resume and they don't really know like where to start, where is like the biggest place that they should start so they could actually have some like going forward? It would
Yeah.
probably be to contact you.
Right.
They
I
don't
would
know
hope so,
what they're
right?
doing. Yeah.
Right. I would hope so. But honestly, if you're not able to contact me,
Right
um,
away. Hmm.
yes, I would say the first single thing that you can do that will make an improvement is to get rid of all irrelevant information. And I'm talking about like the experience that dates back decades or like completely unrelated jobs. It's noise. And it's noise that clutters your document. And to be quite frank, it makes you look like a weaker candidate. So I would suggest remove it immediately, remove it expeditiously, like all the irrelevant information. And that's something that you could do um, rather
Right
quickly.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard this like with a AI, and I've heard that AI is like reading, resumes. So they're
Yeah.
looking for like keywords. Is that a misconception or is that something that you think is like reality right now?
It's true. I can't speak for every single job, but I know most of them right now are using what is called ATS software. And for those that aren't familiar with it, it stands for Applicant Tracking System. So essentially, your resume is being scanned by an AI algorithm and it ranks you based on keywords and formatting compatibility. So the algorithm is screening you first, not the recruiter in a lot of cases these days. So it's really important to understand a little bit more about it and hire someone who understands the in and outs of it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, has writing your resume changed since this ATS software has come out? Has like what you should put and leave out, has that changed?
Yeah. So circling back to what we mentioned, like the average recruiter is looking at a resume for about 6 seconds, even after like the ATS software. So you really like don't have much time. So um, some key things that you want to include in your resume are statistics that can help the employer. So like saying like, for example, I reduced the return rate at my company by like 30%. Like just quantifying your successes in your past, that would really help. And it goes back to what we said earlier about reducing that noise and just communicating your value more effectively. So, cutting all the fluff and really just communicating how you are an asset to this employer.
And then what's like an improvement that somebody could make like today? Like I think you mentioned it, taking out the noise, taking out the
Yeah.
clutter. Is there anything else that you would recommend to improve their resume? I mean, have other people read it
Yeah.
before? Hmm.
So something else that someone can do is also like understand like what field they want to get into, like where, like we mentioned, like where do you want to go? If you can understand, okay, this is the type of career switch I want to make, then you can that will actually help you filter out what to put in your resume because it should always like tie back to like where you want to go. So like if you um like say you want to become a teacher, then including like, oh, I was a hairdresser, in 1990, like that would be like irrelevant unless there were some things that you did like as a hairdresser that could like help your role in teaching, like it always should come back. And if you have a hard time like circling it back to where you want to go, then I would say leave it out. So that's really the biggest thing that I see.
It would be like if they were a hairdresser, they were teaching people
Yes,
to
that would
do
be
that. And then
relevant.
that would say that they have some capabilities to teach people to do things. But if they
Exactly.
didn't, it probably such a long time ago wouldn't really make sense. And then
Yeah.
what suggestion would you have for somebody who is, and I know this is like, I heard a stats that they said this is like the worst job market for college graduates since
I
like
heard it
the
too.
Great Depression or something. And I didn't even know there was a job market in the Great Depression because there was a depression. So I really didn't think anybody was working. But if they don't have much experience, meaning like they maybe only had like high school jobs, maybe they worked at, restaurants, then maybe they worked as a lifeguard and they're trying to get into like the business world, the corporate world, or like the professional world and they don't have any experiences in those type of atmospheres, what would they do on their resume to make it stand out?
Yeah, and this hits home because as I shared, like when I got my first job, which was like the only job I applied to at that time,
Uh-huh.
um, and I didn't have experience. But one thing that really helps is like at least you may have some volunteer experience, like for me at the time, like I had some church experience. So I was able to like communicate how doing those things would help an employer because they're like some soft skills that were transferable there. So I would just say think about any experience, whether in school, if you were in clubs, um, even babysitting, like something. And because at that point you don't really have much to work with, so you got to put something on there. Try to make sure that you effectively convey like how you would be an asset to your future team, with what you have, because you can't just send in a blank resume.
Yes. And then without naming any names, could you list or tell us a story where you've helped somebody transform their resume or their brand and it's helped propel their career?
Yeah, so this actually was recent. I worked with a lady. Um, she was working at a school near me, and she was ready to give up, like give up completely because she knew that she was not happy with where she was at. And at this point, I believe she was applying to about 40 to 50 jobs in like the span of a few months. And I told her like, hey, like I will look at your resume, I'll give you an honest look. And um, to be fully transparent, that resume, it conveyed her frustration, and it showed defeat, you know. And we revamped it. We quantified her value, which is what we shared earlier about conveying that message that you're an asset, maybe adding some numbers in there. And I kid you not, she secured an interview, got the job, and started training that following Monday. So, and this all happened within a week. So she's much happier. She's compensated better now. And yeah, so that was actually something that happened recently, like about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you could tell somebody or give somebody to protect their confidentiality with their resume and their brand, if that's something that's important to them?
To protect their confidentiality. Could you expand that question just a bit?
Yeah, because you know how sometimes people like could steal your identity. So if you have your resume posted on social media sites or job seeking sites,
Mm-hmm.
in some aspects of it, it may not be safe
Yeah.
because, you know, people are scams and they could maybe steal like your names and your
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
addresses. So it may not be safe for them to put their information out there on sites that maybe aren't like trusted, you know, well known or legitimate, because there's a lot of scams out here for
It
job
really is. It
seekers.
really is. I've actually seen in a lot of cases where people would like put their addresses in their resume. And if you're listening, don't do that. Don't put your
Yeah.
address in your resume. It's not necessary. If the job needs your address, so like ask it at some point, maybe during the hiring process, but you don't need to put
I
your
was
address on
wondering
there.
that because I'm I'm so old, as my son says, but his resume he had Orlando, and we don't live in Orlando, but we live around Orlando. So I figured, and now that you say that, that makes sense because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I was about to say, why didn't you put your address? He's like, you're
Oh yeah,
so old,
no.
mom.
Yeah.
But now I know why,
And that's a good
because it's not
idea.
safe. Yeah, just put the around where you're in or whatever, because so they know like the state and the city, because like you said, most jobs or a lot of jobs are remote. And I
Yeah.
know that's like the new thing, you
It's a
know,
new thing.
that's what everybody
Everyone
wants.
wants remote job right
My
now.
son is like, all my friends and I work remote. We don't want to leave the house. And so I'm like, I understand. I mean, it's comfortable and everything, but you know, I guess after COVID, like a lot of things changed.
A lot has
Um,
changed. Yeah.
but, you know, my sister and her husband both work from home, and they're not, you know, they're like my age, such. So, and they've been working from home for years and they, you know, like it. So I feel like for me, I'd probably like a hybrid because I like to be like social a little bit. I would feel like
Yeah.
tied up in my house. So I feel like the hybrid, a little bit at home, a little bit away would work for me. But unfortunately, I can't do that. I have to work in my office all day. But I feel like for some people that it's getting them to socialize and like work in a group, you know, a little bit.
I definitely see that because when I worked remote, like you definitely feel like isolated, even if you're like talking with your
Yes,
customers.
it's not the
Um,
same.
it's
Uh-huh.
not the same. So I definitely think that a hybrid would be ideal too for me because you just spend all these times like by yourself, and then you're like, and then also it depends if you're introverted, extroverted, ambiverted. I
Yeah,
think I
a
fall
lot
in
of
the middle
them.
of that. Yeah.
It could be like halfway. I can be both.
Yeah.
Um, And you said you offer other services other than resume writing. What other services does your company offer?
We do cover letters. We've actually done job prep. So this looks like job preparation coaching. If you find yourself feeling not confident when you're going in for an interview, um, that's where I will come in and we'll put together a document based off like the job that you want. And we'll do some like role play. Like I'll pretend that I'm the recruiter, the hiring manager, and then I'll give you feedback based off what I'm seeing. So it's really effective. So that's one thing that's two other things that we do. And we plan on rolling out a program that helps small businesses as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And then can you work with any like career that somebody wants to get into? Or do you have specific career types that you work with and you can help coach people on?
That's a great question. At this moment, I've done different fields like medical, tech, entry level roles. So right now, we don't have like a specific niche, but I wouldn't be surprised at some point down the line if we start narrowing in on a specific field. But so far, it's been pretty diverse.
That's good. I feel like because some of the stuff, resume writing, wording, confidence building and all that is like generalized. So it
Yeah,
wouldn't just be for one field. Like everybody
yeah,
needs that. So I
yeah,
think that's great. Hmm.
yeah.
And then if somebody wanted their, resume reviewed, I'm thinking of as two people that I know could use your help. Would they send them your resume, or do you do like a Zoom call and go over like a summary of what they're looking for? And then so you can get a feel if it's something that you could help them with, or how do you really go about that?
That's a great question. So they can email me at ava@thesummitstrategist.com with their resume. And then I will actually take a look at it. It's easier for me that way. And then we will set up a time to do like a phone consultation. So that can be done through Zoom or just through mobile. And then I will just give them an honest opinion on it, tell them like how we can tweak it, and then discuss pricing and then go from there. So just email would
Nice.
be a good start.
Email's a good start. I like email too. Good, good.
Yes.
I'm going to share your information, not only with these two people, but with everybody else. And I
Thank you
feel
so
like
much, Colleen.
you're welcome. And I feel like coming into, 2026, everybody's like, it's going to be a great year.
Yeah,
So, I'm hoping it gets better for, the job market, the economy, because all of that kind of links together. Real estate and everything is all part of the economy. So the more jobs they are, the more people can spend money, they can buy houses. It just makes the
exactly.
economy and everything so much better. Do you think somebody who's unhappy on their job, because I know there's a lot of people that are unhappy in their jobs and they want to do something else. Do you think that if they maybe, because I always say this, make a list of like your key like things that you will not give up in a job or like a career, and then things that you're willing to like negotiate on,
Right,
maybe
right.
like I think that's a good start. That used
Yeah.
to be from like a long time ago. Is that still a good thing?
I
Like
think that's still effective.
it's still effective
I think that's
because
still effective.
maybe like they want to work from home, but they would be comfortable doing like the hybrid schedule, or they would
Hmm.
be comfortable working in an office if it was a job that they liked and the pay that they liked.
Yeah.
And then another question is when you're asking, when the employer asks for like a salary, what is the best? I always wonder this, like, are you supposed to lowball it? Are you supposed to highball it? Are you supposed to be honest? Because like you don't want to sell yourself short, I guess, and you
Yeah.
don't want to be too desperate. But if you're out there looking for a job and you don't have a job, money's better. Like, how's the best way for somebody to do that if they don't really know what they're worth financially?
Can I say that I'm still on the fence about that too? I actually don't know.
Right.
I actually don't
The
have that
tough
answer.
one.
I've heard like different answers. Like I've heard some people say, negotiate. You always have to negotiate. Go higher, go higher. And then I've seen cases where that backfired. So I don't know. I think that would probably be a case by case thing. And I encourage people to like start researching more into it. That's actually something that I'm going to do after we get off this podcast. Like,
Research.
what is
Yeah.
the best thing to do about that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one because you never know. And I think nobody ever likes like talking about money. It's always like an
Yeah,
uncomfortable thing. Like when they
it
ask
is.
and you want that job, but you're kind of
Oh
like,
my
oh,
gosh.
should I say this? It's in the range. And then, I know salaries have gone up, but not that much.
Not that much. I've been that
Yeah.
one in the past. Like I can remember like getting to that point of, okay, how much do you want to get paid? And be like just grateful to be there. And I'm just saying like the lowest amount and then thinking, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Because I was afraid that if I, said something higher that I was gonna, like my opportunity would go away. But I don't know. That's still something that that's still something that I would need to research. But I think ultimately though, if you have the experience and you know what you can bring, it's okay to not like lowball yourself.
Correct. Yeah,
At that
it's
time, I didn't
true.
have a lot of experience. So I was like,
It's a starting point. And then I
yeah,
know you said you're not on social media, which I just did a video about this. I don't know if it's been
really.
posted yet, but like I did just a video and I'm gonna have my guy edit it. And that social media, like there's an app my son was telling me and somebody else that you can put on your phone that will like shut your phone off. So you
Oh my
limit
gosh.
yourself and how long you're on your phone because you can sit there and scroll on these, social media sites
Yeah.
for hours,
They're
hours.
addicting.
It's addicting. And you can just think you're watching TikTok videos for, 10 minutes and it could easily be an hour or two. So I feel like that's a great thing. I can't get off those sites all the way because I do post and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it does play its purpose, but then it does become addicting and it does, like you said, it can put you in the wrong direction, I guess, mindset
Yes.
wise, and then it can take
Yeah.
you off your course. But it does have like its tools for you to market yourself
Yeah.
and your
There are some
business.
benefits
There
to
are
it.
some benefits, but there can be bad benefits.
Yeah. And I think I was at the place where for me the cons were outweighing the benefits, but for somebody else, they might be getting benefit like on these apps and maybe they can control their scrolling. I know like when I was heavily on the apps, it felt like time was just woo, just going on by. And um who knows, maybe down the line there's probably going to be a different app that I think, okay, this is something that I
It
want to
might be
get into.
worth it.
Yeah, but as of now, I just think that for me it just hasn't been um
Effective.
yeah, like as opposed to like networking, like what I think people call this the cold approach. And that's actually how I met you, Colleen, just like
Yeah, we met at CFRI at the trade show, which, it was a great place because I've never met
yeah,
anybody that does what you're doing there. And there was a lot of people there. So, with that being said, sometimes the old ways are still better, going out and
yeah.
pounding the pavement, as they
I love
say.
it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it can be like, initially like a little nerve-wracking, but once you
Of
get in there, you
course.
realize like, I got this, and then you can, get something from it. So I'm glad I went. That was fun. That was my first time there. Have you been
There's
there prior?
Oh, I go there all the time, like once a month. And
Oh,
and there's a lot of other events, like weekly. I try not to do that much. I like to do, if I'm going to do it, it may be like twice a month, once a week. In January, I'll probably start doing them more, but then I sometimes have events on the weekend. So,
yeah.
I don't like to overburden myself,
Yeah, of
with
course.
events because I still want to be able to rest, catch up on work, exercise,
Of
and do stuff like
course.
that because I work all day. But then it is important to go network and talk to the people who help me, with my business. So that's why I
Yeah.
go.
I
But if
liked
you're
it
ever
though. Yeah.
interested in events and you're ever on this side of town in Orlando or anything, let me know and I'll let you know where I'm headed to.
That sounds good. I got you.
But I so appreciate your time, and I'm gonna get you some resumes sent over so you can get some appointments set up with these people
Thank
that are
you.
that are job hunting. And I feel like it's really good time for this. So I hope that you get a lot of clients and you can help a lot of people land the jobs that they're looking for.
Thanks so much, Colleen. I appreciate
Update the
it.
resumes. Thank you. Have a nice
Yeah.
weekend coming up and a great holiday, which is approaching
Yes.
us
Happy
soon.
holiday. And
Same
thank you
to
so much
you.
for having me, Colleen. This was great.
It was. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us on our podcast episode that's posted bi-weekly. Again, we would love if you would like and share and subscribe to our podcast. It means the world to us and it helps our guests so much. Remember, if you would like to join us, you can do so at any time. We record in person or on Zoom anywhere in the world. Also, our podcast is produced by Sean Sposato and it's hosted by me, Miss Colleen Pacheco. Please like and share our Facebook pages, which is Colleen Pacheco and Secured Insurance Group. Our Instagram is Colleen Insurance Lady 22, and our cover art is edited by Norma Pacheco. We appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us.